They love it on Nebula. They're wild about it on Taurinus. Even on Motus, where they don't like anything at all, they eat it up.
This is the Bob and Jeff Show, starring Bob Lutz.
I got tremendous pleasure from watching Dexter over the years. I don't know why you want to knock it.
Jeff Lutz.
I killed a guy in his sleep last night.
What is he, Bob Huggins? The only thing you offer this show
I hated the voiceovers.
is your 19 impersonations that sound the same.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Strap yourself in and feel.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It is a Wednesday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show here on KFH Radio. I'm Bob Lutz. Jeff Lutz co-hosting Max Power, our producer and engineer, 869-1240. The IHOP hotline. We'll tell you a little bit later in the show what they got going on at IHOP, especially for veterans, coming up on Veterans Day next week. Actually, not, is it next Monday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah,
The 11th.
that's right. That's when Veterans Day
Yeah?
is.
Seems like it should be on a Monday.
It's not one of those holidays. It's not one of those Labor Day, Memorial Day, always on a Monday holidays. It has its own day. 11/11.
Well, they got red, white, and blue pancakes for veterans coming up on
I wonder
Veterans
what that's
Day
like.
at IHOP. Be good stuff.
Is that like raspberries, white chocolate chips, and blueberries or something?
No, don't know what it is. Haven't delved into it.
Well, I'm going to find out.
Maybe you can go. And,
I'm not a
try it out.
veteran, so I don't know.
So we have a new mayor, a mayor-elect, who dropped by her former employer, KWCH, this morning. Saw the interview. Was she toasted?
I don't know what that means.
I mean, did somebody provide a toast for the new mayor?
Not in our newsroom.
I didn't mean was she inebriated.
I didn't know if
Well,
that's
I mean,
what.
come on, play along.
I don't know if she was toasted. Why would she be toasted? I'm
Hey,
sure.
here, let's lift a glass to Lily Wu,
I'm
the
sure
new,
last night she was, but I
new
wasn't.
mayor of Wichita.
I wasn't there.
You got a hug, you told me.
From Lily Wu.
Did she hug everybody?
No.
Huh.
She only hugged me. She only talked to me and the news director. But in the morning it's pretty sparse in there. Not a whole lot of people, but I did receive and earn a hug from our new mayor-elect.
Now, you don't vote, obviously, for Wichita mayor now, where you live.
Correct.
You vote for the mayor of Andale, right?
I don't know.
Did you not vote yesterday?
I didn't vote yesterday. I think
What?
we only had like one thing on. It was some kind of Garden Plain thing. I don't think I vote Andale. I think I vote Garden Plain. And there was nothing for Andale that
So
I
you're
know
in the
of.
Andale Garden Plains School District.
Right, Renwick.
Interesting.
So I don't think there was anything that I needed to vote on. Nothing that really would
You ever
have
run
affected
over to
me.
Garden Plain for dinner, or do they have a?
Not really. I kind of like being in that Tri-Cities area of Cheney, Garden Plain, and Andale.
Well, don't forget Colwich.
Yeah,
You're kind of in that area too.
Colwich, St. Mark's. There's a lot of them.
Mount Hope, not too far away.
Mount Hope, that was fun. They had a sales tax thing. I wonder if that would have been on my ballot. I doubt it.
No, it wouldn't have been.
But they had like
I can tell you no.
They had a turnout of like 11. Who lives in Mount Hope?
People live in Mount Hope, and they're happy to be there. Anyway, congratulations to every victor, and those of you who didn't victor, give it a shot next time.
You never know.
You never know. I'm never going to run for political office.
Well, I wouldn't
appears.
think so at this stage of the game.
That'd be kind of sad, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I don't know if it'd be sad. You're
Yeah,
just a
they-
little too old
Yeah, I'm too old for
to
anything.
get into the game for the first time.
I'm
You
too
don't,
old for a lot of things.
you don't see a lot of 70-year-old first-time politicians.
No, you really don't.
I guess except our former president.
I was duty yesterday. I listened while I was driving, and he just seemed, to be okay. You don't really bring out the best in Duda.
Well, you don't either. I don't even know what the best in Duda is.
I bring out the absolute
no,
best.
no, you don't. This is just a love fest, and he goes along. You heard us talking, I'm sure.
No, I didn't hear
at
that
the
part
beginning of the
it.
show.
No, I didn't hear that.
Oh, good.
What was said?
I just made fun of you a little bit.
Made fun of me.
Yeah, for I said if the Cubs, you had them at Bellinger, Ohtani, and Nola, which the Athletic says would cost them $860 million. I said if I will bow to you if the Cubs spend $750 million or more.
Well, I was exaggerating.
A little, but
my point was that the Cubs didn't go get Craig Counsell without following that up. Now, are they going to be in the Ohtani sweepstakes? I wouldn't be shocked. But if they don't,
seems like they are.
They're not going to get Ohtani and Bellinger. They'll get one of the two, and then perhaps Nola. And then you've got a real serious issue in the National League Central.
Well, it's going to be.
I would not be shocked if they signed two of those three. Ohtani, Bellinger, and Nola would make perfect sense, right?
Sure.
Ohtani and Nola.
Although that's how much of an upgrade is that? Because they already had Bellinger, and they're losing Stroman. Nola's better than Stroman, but not by a huge amount.
Well, they got a young, good farm system. They got several young players on the cusp. We've seen how that works. We've seen young players come up and make an immediate impact.
True, and they have a bunch.
That happens in St. Louis with a youngster by the name of Victor Scott II.
Oh, you're enamored.
I am. I've been enamored since I saw him play. And everything seems to be falling into place. I've read numerous accounts where those who pay close attention to the Arizona Fall League say he's far and away the best prospect.
More than Chase DeLauder?
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Well, this guy has all the tools.
Except
maybe the power tool, but that can develop. But he's an exciting player. You know that. You saw him.
Seen him a bunch. I do like him.
Of course, who wouldn't? He's one of the fastest runners in the game. Makes good contact. Seems to have very good baseball IQ. Defensively superior. What's not to like?
I loved the Texas League this year. I'm not trying to get off Victor Scott, but he was just
don't get off Victor.
One of a few. Seattle had a guy in Double-A. Obviously, Evan Carter was in Double-A, and I believe he was playing center field when he was here in Wichita just in August, which is crazy. Skip Triple-A and then goes to the World Series and wins it and is productive.
Good players.
Yeah.
That's my point. Young players can make immediate impact.
Jonathan Clase, the player for Arkansas in Seattle's system. He's
Question.
good.
Is my voice ever going to come back?
Well, you're struggling.
All the way. Is it going to come back all the way?
Are you still straining a little bit?
I did a lot of talking earlier this afternoon, and I'm paying the price for that right now.
I guess so. Did you have an event? Did you have a function?
You don't need to worry about that.
I'm not worried. I'm just curious.
You don't even need to be curious.
You tell me all the time I need to be more curious, and then when I am.
Not about me.
Okay, good.
Be curious about everything else in the world.
I'm off the hook when it comes to.
Yeah, you don't ever need to ask another question.
Sweet,
about me.
That's awesome.
Are you telling me right now you're never going to inquire?
You told me it's good. I mean, if we have an understanding here, I don't know why I wouldn't go along with it.
Well, you might inquire about how I'm doing from time to time, but don't worry about my functions and where I have lunch and who I have lunch with and those kinds of things.
Okay.
Even if it's really, really interesting.
Probably not.
Which today was, but I don't want to really get into it.
Okay. That's your decision.
We haven't talked. Did you guys talk about the Shockers?
Yeah, I watched half of their game. I chose them over the Pacers, which I'm not sure I'll ever do again, because the Pacers went and put up 152 on Monday.
Jeff, the Pacers are not at all interesting. And you've got to stop texting Duda and I about the Pacers. I can tell you with complete, what's the word I'm looking for?
Certainty?
Yes. We don't care.
Okay.
And the fact that the Pacers score 152 against who?
The Spurs.
Who are nowhere near any good.
Well, they've beaten Phoenix twice.
It just doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I'll stop texting you guys.
Thank you,
then.
because honestly, it's not interesting. So I would hope you'd watch the Shockers over the Pacers. They were, as I've said, and I'll continue to say, It feels like this is the new beginning of Shocker basketball.
It does.
Feels like they've got a guy in Paul Mills who's an excellent coach and is going to get the most out of his players, out of his roster. How good that roster is, still to be determined. But I feel confident saying that this coach will get the most out of this roster, whereas in the previous few years, that wasn't the case.
Not even close, unfortunately, and you hate saying that, but it is no denying that it did look completely different on Monday. The style of play was different, shot selection was different. Guys looked more confident out there than they had in the previous years, and just a lot of change.
Colby Rogers had an excellent first half. I continue to be pretty bullish on Quincy Ballard just because he's big and athletic.
Well, he's done it he did it overseas on their trip. He did it in the exhibition game, and now he's done it in the first real game, so no reason to really
Kenny
doubt him.
Poto coming into his own. They don't have a tremendous amount of depth. I think Xavier Bell's a different-looking player, much more confident, much more sure of what he's trying to do. As first games go, you have to give them a very high grade, and it has to light some enthusiasm amongst the Shocker fan base. So they get it going again tomorrow night against a better team in Western Kentucky.
Yes. You
out
know
at
that they're
Koch
better?
Arena. Yeah, I do know that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't. So
Well, I do. You know what? I look at this stuff.
okay, then I believe you. But sometimes you just pop off, and
I never pop off.
oh, it's Western Kentucky. We've seen them have success. They're kind of a name program a little bit, so they must be better. But are they?
Yeah, they
Okay.
are, and I'm very confident saying that.
Then, and I'm confident too,
Well, I don't know why you question me.
because I don't know. That's why.
That doesn't seem like that's something you are qualified to do, is to question me.
Well, I don't know. Now we're both looking up.
Western Kentucky, 1-0. They started their season with a 90-64 win over a very good Kentucky Wesleyan team.
Western Kentucky 171 in the Kim Palm, Lipscomb 209. So yeah, better marginally,
Well, that's what I said. A better team.
I guess.
But you just cited two sources.
Is there a huge difference between 171 and 209 in the Kin Palm?
I believe so. I do believe so.
Okay.
Western Kentucky's had recent success. They were okay last year. But we'll see. Where are they picked this year?
You act like I know that. I don't even know what conference they're in.
Well, listen.
They're in Conference USA.
Right. You could make the case. You shouldn't make the case. But Western Kentucky Conference USA is where the American went to pilfer a lot of teams.
Western Kentucky picked third. So that must be just a horrendous conference. They actually got 2 first-place votes. And they have a player, Dante Allen, a senior, who's on, and Brandon Newman, 2 guys on the all-conference preseason team, which appears to have...
well, you got it called up now. Put your phone away. Name teams in... No, put your phone away. Name teams in Conference USA, and you go until you just looked at.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Lipscomb. Liberty was in there.
Liberty is not in Conference USA. The schools that are in Conference USA, Jacksonville
What do you
State,
mean?
Liberty,
I just said Liberty.
Middle Tennessee, Sam Houston, UTEP, Western Kentucky, Florida International, Louisiana Tech, and New Mexico State. That league's all over the place.
I don't get that league.
Well, they had to scramble because
Kind of a Southern league.
the American took a bunch of their schools.
That's correct. And then they took schools from somewhere else and so on and so forth. Right on down the line.
Name 3 teams in the Horizon League.
The Horizon League Is Evansville still in the Horizon?
No, they're in the Missouri Valley Conference.
I'm going to say the Horizon has Ball State's in the MAC.
This is awful.
The Horizon. Eastern Kentucky?
That is not correct.
Gosh darn it. Give me one and I'll try to name another.
Youngstown State.
So, Miami of Ohio?
No, they're in the MAC too. What? You couldn't sound more.
How about
Milwaukee?
That's a good one.
How about Detroit Mercy?
Yeah.
Northern Kentucky.
That was
Oakland,
close.
Wright State. Robert Morris. I'll give you one more chance, but this is not
I could
your.
have done this 20 years ago. I would have
This is
been
not your deal.
unstoppable.
All right. Give me schools in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Oh man, what's that team's name? The Falcons.
The Falcons? There's not a Falcons.
Bowling Green?
There are 3 Eagles in this.
Bowling
league.
Green's not in there?
No, of course not.
What league are we talking about?
The Ohio Valley.
The Ohio
Little
Valley.
Rock, Tennessee State,
Ohio.
UT Martin, Eastern Illinois, Lindenwood, Morehead State, SIU Edwardsville, Southeast Missouri State, Southern Indiana, Tennessee Tech, and Western Illinois.
Are any of those
That is
schools
fascinating.
actually in the
I
Ohio
haven't
Valley?
really checked conferences in a while. These things are so jumbled now.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It's interesting to me.
Isn't the Ohio Valley like Kentucky and Ohio and West Virginia?
Quit trying to talk your way out of just an awful segment.
who's in the Ohio Valley? Cal State Fullerton.
All right,
Like, what in the world are we doing?
Here's an easy one. You want an easy one?
Sure.
Give me teams in the Southern Conference.
The Southern Conference, Tennessee Tech.
No.
Really? Tennessee Chattanooga?
Chattanooga, not Tennessee Chattanooga.
Whatever
Just
they're called. It's the same
East
thing.
Tennessee, Furman,
That's who I meant.
Western Carolina, Wofford, Mercer, Samford, the Citadel, UNC Greensboro, and VMI. I just absolutely love stuff like this.
That's
Why
a
haven't I
blast.
looked at conferences in a while?
You probably have. You just didn't commit it to memory.
They're all over them. They've changed so much. I'll give you one more. This is tremendous radio. If you're playing along at home. The
All right.
Summit League.
The Summit League, Oral Roberts.
Oral Roberts is correct.
Oral Roberts is in that league. I want to say
Kansas City, North Dakota State, Omaha, South Dakota, Denver, North Dakota, South Dakota State, and St. Thomas of Minnesota
really
is in the Summit League.
Never heard of him.
Unreal. All right, we got a good show today at 2:45. Jeremiah Meeks. He sounds like he should live in the mountains.
Maybe he does.
Jeremiah Meeks, the head football coach at Wellington. No mountains in Wellington that I'm aware of. He will join us. Wellington's had a nice season. He's kind of rebuilt that football program kind of quietly. That's a 2-loss Wellington team. They have a test, Wamego, coming up Friday night in the Class 4A football playoffs. And later today at 3:25, our friend Mike Furchess will join us to talk pop culture. That's what's on tap on today's show. We'll take a break, come back, and further the discussion on a Wednesday edition, the Bob and Jeff Show, KFH.
.40 KFH.
See, the Eagles put out some new dates.
Yes.
They will be in Tulsa. They will be in St. Louis. They will be in
Omaha.
Surrounding us, not coming to us yet.
Well, unless you see Kansas City on that list and not Wichita, then there's probably not reason yet to worry. I wouldn't say I'm encouraged by the
I'm not
possibility
encouraged.
that they'll be coming to Wichita, but it's not still out of the question.
I'm not encouraged, nor am I 100% sure I'm going to go.
Really, you're just out now.
I feel like there's very little to entice me. I don't know. I know I'd have a good time, but
Yeah.
I'd be thinking about what could I have spent this money on that would have been a better time. See, I'm so wrapped up, I just
What do you think?
broke my pen.
What do you
thinking
think
about
would be a better time? What are the good times that could be had for, let's say, $250 that would entice you?
I wouldn't go the 250 route. That's nosebleed.
You might have. No, not necessarily. I've gotten good tickets for about 200.
Well, if you can find me good tickets for 200, I'd probably do it. We'll see. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting new lighting in my office Friday.
Well, that's going to be beautiful.
I went out and spent money on that yesterday. I can't wait.
That's going to be installed, you said tomorrow?
Friday.
Friday. So are you on the show Friday?
I am. It'll be done in the morning. As I very much look forward to that.
Yes,
you got to
we're excited.
admit, the old man did a decent job with this office.
Well,
Still
yeah,
some
you got
work
rid
to
of
do.
everything,
Not everything.
basically.
Not
Where is all
everything.
your Cardinal stuff? Do you take it
It's-
to the office?
It's around here somewhere.
Okay.
What do you mean? Most of it's up there.
You had other jerseys and stuff.
Yeah, that's all framed in my office
Okay.
at League 42. I still got, there's still some stuff, but the goal was what? To get rid of some things.
Eliminate clutter, I think is what your exact words were.
And what did we do? We eliminated clutter.
Quite a bit.
Now it's a streamlined operation down here, and the goal now is to not build clutter.
Well, it's
so that
already
we don't end up in the same
a
spot.
lot of paper still around here.
Well, yeah, that's all League 42.
I get
stuff.
it, but most of that stuff was kind of League 42 stuff too. Not saying it'll be clutter. You don't have anywhere to put clutter. So you had tables and other stuff down here that aren't down here anymore. I believe you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm good. It's all good. 869-1240 is the phone number. It's last night was weird. There was nothing on sports-wise until you got to Baylor and who'd they play? Auburn on ESPN. Watched a little bit of that. But it was a weird night. You had some Big East games. Creighton played. They romped. But there was nothing else. It was like election night, and there was very little sports. And I was discombobulated.
We were looking at this yesterday. There's not that many good games until Tuesday when you have the Champions Classic with KU against Kentucky, Michigan State against Duke. We were also talking yesterday about that's an event every year. It's the same four teams. Should they reevaluate the Champions Classic, or should it just be those four teams in perpetuity?
Well, when you say reevaluate, what are you talking about? Are you talking about wholesale changes?
No, KU is going to be in it. I would say even Duke is going to be in it every year. But Michigan State, Kentucky, they feel superfluous. Is that a good word? Not really for that context. But I think you could swap in some teams for Kentucky and Michigan State.
Kentucky's a absolute blue blood in this country.
Yeah, but they've underachieved over the last few years. Michigan State, we talked about it yesterday. I'll keep bringing that up, I guess. Tired of them. Tired of Michigan State.
Well, Tom Thurber doesn't appreciate that.
They lost to James Madison. They've been to one title game, and that was 23 years ago under Tom Izzo. Under Tom Izzo.
And they've been to 8 Final Fours.
So don't give me Champions Classic. You're not champions.
You get to a Final Four and that many. I mean, you're a elite college basketball program, and that's what Michigan State is. Whether you like them or not, they're an elite college basketball program based on their history. You don't just go and win national titles. KU's won 2
Right.
since
We had a huge conversation about this
88.
yesterday.
It's not easy to do.
I ended up taking UConn, Duke, and Kansas against the field for the national championship against Duda. I get 4-1 odds for $20, or might be 3-1. But that's our bet. There's no other teams that are going to win it besides those three. You can go through. You can say teams that are good, that are ranked high, but they never win, and they're never going to win.
Well, I don't know about
Purdue
that.
never wins, right? Arizona hasn't won for 26 years. All these schools that you think of as blue bloods, but they never win.
I'd keep an eye on Marquette.
Marquette's not going to win.
Well, I don't know. They might win.
It would be nice if they did.
I mean, you're taking the numbers 1, 2, and 6 teams. Kansas looks like a very good bet. Duke's always good, but Duke hasn't spent a lot of time cutting down the nets.
No,
at the national championship game either.
I couldn't
So
rule
Duke
them
will
out.
win that bet.
I couldn't eliminate Duke for whatever reason. They stayed in it. I went through a lot of teams and eliminated them just because they never win it.
I think you better keep an eye on Tennessee.
They never
I
won.
think you better keep an eye on. Well, I don't care. Never.
Well, that means something to me. If you've never won it, I'm not going to pick you to win it.
There's always a first time.
And if you go out early a lot, or if you underachieve, or if you fall short every year, same. Houston's probably awesome, but they're not going to win it.
Well, I don't know that they won't win it. I don't think you can say that just because you think you stumbled on some formula.
It's not really
Why
a formula.
Why is KU going to win it?
Because they've won it. Because they're
twice in 35 years.
okay, but they're a 1 or 2 or a 3 seed every year, and they never miss the tournament. They never have a down year. They're going to win it because they put themselves in position to win it every year.
Well, listen, you may turn out to be right, but it's just a guess. That's all you're doing.
It's
There's
kind of a
nothing
guess,
behind it.
but it's kind of, I'm looking at
And
history.
if you're right, there's nothing to be impressed about.
Gonzaga never won, not going to win.
Oh, I don't know. We'll see. I'm looking forward to the college basketball season. You want to take the fun out of everything.
I'm not trying to take
you know
the
who's
fun
not
out
going
of
to
it.
win? The Pacers.
No, they're not. They're not going to win.
You know who's never going to win? The
NCAA
Pacers.
They won't win the NCAA
They won't win
champ-
the NBA title.
Ever?
No, never.
They never have.
They never will.
Did they win the ABA title a couple times?
They did, but that doesn't matter. They've never won an NBA title. They've never been Reggie Miller had them they were interesting. They made deep playoffs.
They made the finals a couple times.
But they listen. You picked a team that you're going to be so sorry you picked them by the middle of December.
Oh, I hope not.
We won't be getting any texts. Let me tell you that.
They are leading the league in scoring.
Well, so what?
Just
Against
saying.
bad teams.
Well, it is what it is. I'm just giving you stats. They lead the league in assists. So this is a team that shoots a lot of threes, moves the ball, puts the ball in the basket, and we'll see.
I mean, they've won a couple in a row against. They beat Cleveland or they beat the Spurs. They have the Jazz
Tonight,
tonight. Are you going to watch that game?
of course,
Why?
because it's fun.
Then they have Milwaukee, a couple games against Philadelphia. They'll lose all those.
Yeah, too bad. They might beat Philly.
Who is their? Because you got to watch these clowns. Who's their play-by-play guy?
I don't know his name. Nick something.
He's terrible.
Yeah, I don't pay attention.
Right?
Quinn Buckner's not that good as their analyst. It just is what it is.
And you got to sit down and
It's not like he's bad.
But this is just all pride. I've told everybody I'm on the Pacers, and by God, I'm going to watch them. And I'll text my dad and Jason Duda, even though they couldn't care less. They literally could not care less.
That's why I'm
about
telling
this
you.
team, and you're going to continue to pester us.
You're pestering me right now for no reason.
Well, I just don't get it.
Well, I don't know. I don't really get it either.
I can't hang with an NBA game right now. I
Right.
try.
You can't hang with the games they put on TV because it's all about star power and, it's not wholesome. It's not family entertainment. It's all the drama. You go to a team like the Pacers, no drama.
Is your wife into it?
She watched the end of the Hornets game with me and was very
That
frustrated.
is true devotion.
Very frustrated with how that turned
Really?
out. Yeah, she didn't like it. Tyrese Halliburton blew it.
Well, there you go. I can't imagine paying tremendously close attention. College football playoff rankings, which don't matter and will never matter, and there's nothing less. There's nothing that lives up to the hype less than the college football playoff. Remember, folks, when it arrives, one of the semifinals.
Usually late December.
Give me a break on that. Tell me when they are.
Probably New Year's Eve, usually, right?
Yeah, something around there. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, they're the semifinals are Monday, January 1st, at 4 and 7:45 p.m. Eastern time. Remember now, when we get there, those games are going to seem like nothing. And then when we get to the Monday night national championship game, we're all going to watch it begrudgingly.
Why do you say that?
Because that's how it is every year.
Okay, but why?
It just doesn't interest me. If they had a larger playoff field, which thankfully we're going to get, then it would have much more meaning. This doesn't even. Do I care?
Man, that's weird to say, right? Because we always used to think that a smaller playoff field meant the season and everything else mattered a little bit more. You think the meaning is attached if more teams.
I think the regular season matters. But then the culmination is always a disappointment. I can't tell you how unexcited I am to see Ohio State play Florida State and Georgia to play Michigan. I can't even put it into words.
But those are your marquee games.
I can't even tell you.
Okay, give me what four
Now,
teams.
If I were going to see Ohio State, if I was going to see Ohio State play Louisville,
They'd destroy Louisville.
I'd probably get into that.
They'd absolutely demolish.
If I was going to see Georgia play Oregon State, yeah, give me that
what?
game.
83 to 26.
I want to build up. I know there's going to be upsets along the way. I like the process of a larger playoff.
There wouldn't be a whole lot of upsets in college football.
I believe there would. Would you not adore? Now you'd get your first four seeds would get buys with a 12-team playoff. So you'd have number 5 Washington taking on number 12 Oregon State in a Pac-12 rematch.
No thanks.
You'd have number 6 Oregon facing Louisville.
Yawn.
You'd have number 7 Texas going against Penn State.
Okay.
And you'd have number 8 Alabama in a rematch against Ole Miss.
Are we going to get Alabama in the college football playoff? Are they going to worm their way into it?
Well, they got a chance.
One loss to only Texas.
They got a chance. They have Kentucky, Chattanooga, and Auburn left. They won't lose those games. And then they'd play Georgia for the SEC title.
And they could win that game.
They certainly could. So yeah,
something to keep an eye on.
They're not dead in the water by any stretch of the imagination.
It seems like they're just lurking, and they have been all year.
And it's cool to see KU, even though 16 doesn't really mean a whole lot. It means a lot to Kansas.
Can KU? What has to happen for them to play in the Big 12 champ? It's going to be Oklahoma State, Texas right now, right?
Well, right now that's how it looks.
So one of those teams has to lose a game or two.
Well, yeah, and that could very easily happen. I mean, Oklahoma State is not. I mean, they're 5-1, and they have 3 winnable games. They've got Central Florida, Houston, and BYU. They're in. They're 8-1. Now, how do you feel about Mike Gundy?
Well, we know he'll lose, and then they'll go to the Holiday Bowl, and it'll be great.
I've been impressed with him this year.
It has been a little different this year because of the way they started. We had Barry Trammell on the show in the first couple of the weeks of the season. He said they stink.
Yeah, he did say that. And they've proven that they don't stink. Kansas, meanwhile, has Texas Tech, K-State, and then a road game against Cincinnati. So they conceivably could also go 3-0. But it's Oklahoma State and Texas, most likely. We're joined by Jeremiah Meeks. He's the head football coach at Wellington. Wellington got a winning streak going. They've won 7 games in a row. They're 9-2. I'm sorry, 8-2 now overall. Coach Meeks, welcome to the Bob and Jeff Show.
Thank you. How are you guys?
We're doing well. So you're in your second year. You took over a program that had, frankly, not been as strong. Wellington football has a great history and tradition. And here you are in your second year. You've got your team deep into the 4A playoffs. First of all, tell us a little bit about your background and why this Wellington job had appeal to you.
I came down here I was at Mound Ridge for the previous 6 years, and then I coached at Mac College 4 years before that. And I coached at a small 8-man school out west before that. The appeal was the fact that, the history, and I had some friends that lived in the community down here, and they really liked the community, and I knew they had some history, had some good athletes coming up, and I was excited to get up into the 4A ranks, and I'm glad I made the move. It's been a good move.
So I'm on Twitter a lot on Friday nights and following scores, and your scores come up pretty often because they get updated really often. And you're always in these really close, hard-fought games. They're often, back and forth. How do you keep pulling those games out, and how stressful, if at all, is it playing in those games?
The credit goes to the kids. I mean, they've got confidence that they're going to win those games. It seems like every week we need somebody to make a play, and somebody does. Obviously, I would like some of them to not be as close because it does get a little stressful having to make, big calls at the end and know that, we've got to get this. And, we got to get a touchdown here. We got to get a stop here. But like I said, all the credit goes to the kids that do a great job. They have confidence in what they're doing. They have confidence in the system, and we've been getting some wins.
Jeremiah Meeks, our guest, head football coach at Wellington. They have a road test, to put it mildly, at Wamego coming up on Friday night. So it looks like, Coach Meeks, that you guys score very well. Take us behind the scenes of your offense. I know you have a very skilled and talented quarterback.
Yeah, we have a really good quarterback. Dusty does a great job for us. He started the first 3 games last year and got hurt, and then missed the rest of the year. So he's essentially his first full year, but he's done a really good job for us. He gets the ball out quick. I think he's thrown for a little under 2,500 yards this year and 25, 26 touchdowns. And then he has some really skilled wide receivers to throw to. Carter Burnett's he's a D1 kid at receiver. Skylar Brandon's, he's going to play some college football somewhere. He's a really good wide receiver. We got a senior, Maddox Black, that does a really good job for us. And then we got a really, really good offensive line. It gives us time, protects for us. We got a good running back, Nick Giefer, and then we have a really, really good tight end. We have a D1 tight end that does a good job, Brody.
Yeah, you mentioned your quarterback, Dusty Bannister. Tell us a little bit more about him and what he brings to the table and the type of leader he is. Because, like you said, you're in a lot of close games. So I'm sure he helps in those scenarios.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he gets the kids rallied. The kids have confidence in him. They know he's going to get them where they need to be. He's a great leader. He's more of a kind of a lead-by-example kid, but he's becoming more of a vocal leader as he matures. He's got a big arm. His decision-making is kind of what sets him apart. He gets the ball super quick in our RPO stuff and our quick passing game, and he's kind of that new-age quarterback that's got all the arm angles. He can throw it from the side. He can throw it from the top. It kind of drives you crazy at times, but it's one of those that he gets the ball out where it's supposed to be and does a hell of a job.
Jeremiah Meeks with us from Wellington, the Crusaders, 8-2 going into their game Friday night at Wamego. So you opened the season at Andale. Why'd you do that? No, I'm kidding. They put up They put up 75, and I know you guys were eager to get going and probably felt good about your team, but that's obviously a program that's been outstanding for a long time. What was the next day and that next week like as you prepared for Clearwater?
Oh, it was. I mean, yeah, you don't want to lose, and you don't want to lose the way we lost. But like you said, the kids knew it was going to be a tough one. To be quite honest, we were inside the red zone 5 more times that game and turned it over. Otherwise, that's a lot closer game than what it is. I mean, we had 400 yards of offense on them. So we fumbled it twice on the 2-yard line going in, and then inside the 10 had another fumble, and then a turnover on downs, and then an interception going into the 10. Or, like I said, that's a lot closer game than the score showed. So the kids knew we could score. We had some kids playing in some spots on defense that hadn't played a lot of football because they were, new starters. So, getting thrown into that meat grinder week 1 is tough. We knew we'd settle in, get a lot better defensively, and we have, and we knew we'd even get better offensively, and we have.
I'm always curious about bus rides for trips like this. And obviously, it's an important game. I'd be lying if I said I knew where Wamego is. Bob probably does.
It's
but
west of
what's
it's
that
east
like?
of Manhattan.
Okay, that works. So what is that like, taking bus rides like that? And what has your overall kind of preparation been like for Wamego this week?
Well, it's a 3-hour. It's going to be a little over 3 hours for us here, so it's a heck of a bus ride. The school and the parents are gracious enough. They've got us a couple charter buses, so it's a little more comfortable for the kids. We're going to leave a little bit earlier so we can walk through. Emporia State's letting us walk through at their college field. So we'll break up the trip there and get a walk through halfway through. And then otherwise, preparation, we've just been preparing like we have every other week. We've used the ones a little bit more, going ones versus ones because they're big and physical. So we needed to get a good look on both sides of the ball there. So we've kind of been using our starters for scout team this week, which we haven't done in about the last 6 weeks, but we needed to be ready for the size and the speed that they're going to throw at us.
Talking with Jeremiah Meeks from Wellington, their head football coach. As I told Jeff, my wife works in the Wellington community. I really have grown to really like that town and the townspeople. And I got to believe, Jeremiah, that you're pretty popular there because they've been itching for good football for quite some time. So it's got to feel good personally to get that football program back on track. Are you optimistic that it can stay that way for a while?
Yeah, I am. Winning cures a lot of things. And we grew the program this year. We had about 20 more kids out than we had last year. I'm hoping it gets bigger next year. And if we can keep winning, that gets kids out. That gets kids interested in the game. And we got some good junior high classes coming up. And so you just got to keep pumping the youth programs and the junior high programs and, just keep getting kids out and keeping them out and getting them stronger in the weight room and just keep building the program. But, yes, I'm very optimistic we can keep this rolling in the right direction.
My theory is that this season was kind of turned around. Now, I won't say turned around because you were 3-2 at the time. But when you went to McPherson and won, and then the next week you went to Towanda and beat Circle, winning back-to-back games on the road against good football teams, I would guess you look back at those 2 weeks and say, yeah, that made a difference. That was a difference maker for our season, right?
Yeah, that McPherson win was huge. When we talked about that was kind of I told those kids, I said, for you guys in this program with the 4 years, I told the seniors the 4 years you've been in it, that was a programming defining win for those guys. They needed that. And that kind of got us on a roll. And then, going in the Circle and winning that one was another huge step. It was big. Last year McPherson beat us on a last-second field goal. So the kids they were hungry for that win and, to get that. So it was big for us.
So Coach, I want to go back to the bus ride because I don't think I asked the question the way I really meant.
Apparently he's really got a hankering to ride on a bus.
It's a long time. So do you want?
Can he go with you Friday?
Do you want him to sleep? Do you want him to joke around? Do you want him to sit there stoic and be focused? Like, what do you expect when your team is on the road that long?
I've done this long enough, and for my playing days and watching people, every kid has a way of getting ready. I put the JV on another bus because, they're, most of them are going to be a little locked in, but they're not going to be super locked in, so they can be on another bus and kind of do what they do. But, you got kids that are going to be a little bit goofy. You got kids that are going to talk a little bit more. You got kids that aren't going to say a word. So however they're getting ready in their own mind, that's just kind of how they do it. Most of them
I'm
listen
glad
to
we
music
finally got
and,
to. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got to talk to you. I've been curious about your football team for a while now. It'll be a big test coming up Friday night at Wamego, but you've had some big tests already. We wish you the best of luck.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, Jeremiah Meeks, the head football coach at Wellington High School. Every time I think of Wellington football, I go back to Big Mac Odell, their coach, way back in the day.
I'm more of a Lynn Hibbs guy.
Well, Lynn Hibbs was wonderful. Love Lynn Hibbs.
Yeah.
But I go back to the Mac Odell days.
I don't go back to the
Us
Mac.
old
Mac
Wellingtonians.
Certainly sounds like someone you just made up.
One of the most colorful coaches I've ever been around. And to thank one of the other most colorful coaches I've ever been around, John Dawkins, was also a former head football coach at Wellington.
He comes up a lot. Did he just coach everywhere?
John Dawkins is a legend.
Oh,
a true legend.
Not debating that.
There's no.
But it just seems like
football coach.
Cimarron. Oh, I remember when John Dawkins coached there. And
you sound like a fool.
John Dawkins.
Fool alert. Max. Fool alert.
Loved when he was at Elkhart.
Fool alert. We ought to have that.
Okay.
And I'll just leave it up to Max when to play it.
Just saying, John Dawkins.
Fool alert.
It seems
Fool
like
alert.
You've got him at 180 schools in Kansas.
Fool alert.
Over the course of time.
We will come back with a second hour full of fool alerts. Yeah, we're instituting that.
Cool.
Here on the Bob and Jeff Show. Mike Furchess, our friend, joins us at 3:25. We'll get his thoughts on the new Priscilla Presley movie. No. Isn't there a new Elvis movie?
It's Priscilla,
okay.
Yes.
He didn't like it. He thought he doesn't like Elvis as much now.
I saw that.
We'll get his thoughts on that as part of his segment. Stay with us, Bob and Jeff on KFH.